Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of News for Normies, where I bring you the most important news topics from the past week. If you like what I'm doing here, hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below and share with some normies in your life, especially because we got Election Day coming up in about a month from now. So, if you haven't heard, Hurricane Helene ravaged several states in the southern United States, with parts of East Tennessee and western North Carolina being affected the most. At this time, from my understanding, there are roughly 100 to 200 people that are reported to have died because of this hurricane, and plenty more people who are injured or displaced from it. So, seriously, thoughts and prayers with the victims. And I'm going to have some very spicy thoughts on this whole thing here in just a moment. So, immediately after the hurricane hit, 8 illegal aliens were arrested for looting in eastern Tennessee, and the overall response from the federal government to the victims affected has been disastrous at best. Once the hurricane hit and some of the dust settled, Kamala Harris came out and said that victims from the hurricane are being offered $750 per person. This is an absolute slap in the face to the people affected, and I've heard here and there that, like, that's been the standard from FEMA response for a while now. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, when your entire house and livelihood has just been deleted from the map, $750 is like giving somebody $1, honestly. Like, thanks for the sentiment, I guess, but that's just a slap in the face, honestly. And FEMA has been dragging their feet on disaster relief as well. They are claiming that they are running low on funds for disaster relief for victims of the hurricane. But wouldn't you know it, FEMA has spent over $500 million on illegal aliens coming into the United States. So how long will people stay asleep while your government just flat out hates you? Your government that you elected, and some that you didn't elect because of, bureaucrats in DC, are stealing your money via taxes and giving it to people who are not legal citizens of this country. So if you say, oh, I don't like the government, well, apparently you don't like them enough, because this kind of stuff is still going on. So remember this kind of stuff. Remember the wildfires in Hawaii that just kind of got swept under the rug, and those people were also offered $750. Remember the train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, and how Pete Buttigieg took forever to make a response to that whole situation when a train derailed and spilled toxic chemicals all over the place. And remember this hurricane response in November when you go to vote. It just blows my mind how some people would still bow at the feet of government when the government fucking hates you. They do. Like, what? How else can you explain them just constantly giving money to everybody else, but when it comes time for Americans who need help, sorry, we're out of cash. Maybe we should stop giving so much money to Ukraine and Israel and actually help our own people first. It makes me sick. So, because, the federal government has had a piss poor response to this hurricane, average people are stepping in to try to help. People with helicopters and possibly boats that can get into some bad spots to help people out. And in response to this, law enforcement are threatening to arrest people who are trying to help other hurricane victims. Now, I get, you can't just let any random person come in and try to help. because they can possibly make the situation worse. I get it. However, when you have people that have a helicopter license, you should be opening your arms for any help you can get. You know, whether it's getting people out of a bad situation, like a bad spot physically, geographically, or helping deliver supplies to people who absolutely need it. However, FEMA won't allow outside help because, one, it makes them look bad, and two, because their preferred vendors won't make any money off the situation. So at this point, in my opinion, I would say fuck your preferred vendors, and if you have the resources as a private citizen to help, make them arrest you. Make them arrest you for trying to help people. And then make it a huge problem for them to deal with. Okay, don't go get in anybody's way. If you don't have a helicopter or some sort of specialized equipment that, could be used, don't go try and paddle a kayak down a whitewater river that's, don't go doing something stupid. But if you have the means to help, go help. Please. Yeah. At this point, FEMA shouldn't even exist either. Because on top of threatening to arrest people for trying to help, they're also prohibiting Elon Musk from establishing Starlink communications so that, people who are there can contact loved ones and say, hey, I'm still alive. Or contact outside resources and say, hey, we're running low on baby formula or soap or, just basic things that people need to live. So, yeah, at this point, FEMA should probably just be abolished too, as well as every other government agency at this point, because they're all fucking useless. So, immediately after the hurricane hit, Donald Trump was on the ground in Georgia, in a show of solidarity and support for victims who were affected down there. Now, granted, from what I understand, Georgia didn't get hit as bad as parts of like the Appalachian area that got hit. So I don't think they needed as much. However, I'm sure some people were still affected with power outages and injuries and stuff like that. And I believe he actually donated a large sum of money to a relief fund to help people that were more seriously affected. But the Harris-Biden administration has dragged their feet in every capable way possible. So, again, they hate you, and they should be voted out of office. Likewise, the Tennessee National Guard is being deployed. Yay! Except they're being deployed to the Middle East. Why? Why? Why is everybody else's problems more important than our own? Apparently Israel's problems are more important than ours, especially, when our people are dying from being hit by a hurricane in North Carolina. On that note, Israel actually invaded Lebanon after tensions and skirmishes broke out between the two countries. So, yay. Also, Israel, and more specifically Benjamin Netanyahu, are being accused of spying on Boris Johnson after a listening device was found in his private bathroom. If you don't know who he was the former Prime Minister of Britain, the UK. So, effectively, their president. Speaking of presidents, some allegations are also claiming that Israel is spying on the White House as well. Yeah, so we got foreign countries spying on us. But yeah, please, let's just keep throwing them money too. And I get, if you break it down by all the countries that we give money to, Israel's not even in the top 10 or whatever. I'm just kind of pulling that out of thin air. My point is that we have people hurting here in America, yet we're prioritizing other countries. Why? It makes no sense. I'm a little fired up about this one. Anyway, moving on. Netflix co-founder Reed Hastings was said to have donated a large sum of money to the Harris campaign. Immediately afterward, Netflix lost millions of subscribers. So, I want to say this is kind of good news, because the only way that these large companies and corporations learn a lesson is if you hit them in the pocketbook. And this is how we win the culture war here in America. Vote with your dollar, and when companies do stupid shit that is against your values, quit giving them your money. You know, if you want to see a perfect example of this, look at Bud Light. What happened with Bud Light? Don't have to look too far into history with that one. Also, Jack Daniels is a good example of this. They used to be all about the DEI woke bullshit, and then they dropped it. So, going forward, I'll buy Jack Daniels products from time to time. This is not an endorsement of alcoholism by any means, but if you're an adult and you want to enjoy an adult beverage, drink responsibly. Probably going to tonight, honestly, after all this. But to end on a bit of a high note and a little bit of a funny thing, J.D. Vance delivered a proverbial beatdown on Tim Walz during the VP debate this past week. J.D. Vance called out Tim Walz for just lying all the time and pointed out Kamala's blatant failures. And if you can't see what those things are, then you might want to go get your eyes checked. Since then, independent voters are now favoring the Trump-Vance campaign. That is news I like to hear. However, in a little bit of a pessimistic way of thinking, I think that stuff like that may make people get complacent and not go vote in November. So, my call to action for you watching now. A, make sure you're registered to vote. I know I am because I got a summons for jury duty here soon. B, make sure your friends and family are registered to vote. You can check at vote4america.org. That's vote number 4america.org. Number 3 on the action list, drag them to the polls in November and encourage them to vote for Donald Trump and other America First candidates. At this point, I don't see how a Democrat can be America First, so I kind of repeat myself here. Do not be swayed just by name or a letter next to their name, because there are a lot of shitty Republicans too. The likes of Lindsey Graham, who, and I didn't even put this in my notes, but immediately after this hurricane stuff hit, and mind you, Lindsey Graham is a politician from North Carolina, he said that, while people in America are hurting, we need to help Israel. That way we can fight the enemy over there and the fight won't ever come over here. Okay, dude. Okay. So, if you are in North Carolina and you can vote this dude out of office too. So, that's about all I got this week. Kind of a short one, but again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you like me being a little spicy, let me know too. I try to stay family friendly, but this week I'm just a little keyed up. So, with that being said, like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. You know. And thanks for watching this far into the video. See y'all next time.